You ever stand on your front porch at midnight, watching blue and red lights flash across your yard, wondering how in the world a simple fence turned your life into a bad episode of daytime TV? Because that's how it started for Maya Fence. A lake, a woman with a clipboard and a mean streak, and the kind of night that makes you wonder if peace and quiet are just rumors people tell themselves when the neighborhood is still new. I swear, the second those sirens bounced off the water and caught the shine off my aluminum fence, I knew nothing in Willow Lake was ever going to be the same again, and if I'd known what was coming, I'd have poured 2 fingers of bourbon instead of 1 and told my wife we should have just bought the house on the hill, you know what I mean? But let me back up a sec. My name's Andy, my wife's name is Laura, our son's Sam, and our dog's Rocky, and all we wanted was a slice of that lakeside dream. The kind with paddleboards at sunset, the smell of pine, neighbors who wave when they drive by and maybe even borrow your mower instead of calling the HOA on you. We moved in when the grass was still wet from spring, Laura teaching 2nd grade, me working part-time at the marina, saving every dime, making do with second-hand furniture, the whole American story, right? First week, we baked cookies, knocked on doors, shook hands with folks like Mr. Jenkins across the street guy with a jar of sweet tea that could make you see through time, and even met a few folks who actually seemed happy we were there. And then, on day 3, we met her. Karen. Yeah, that Karen, arms folded, yard perfect, metal sign on her porch that said live, laugh, enforce, no smile, just eyes up and down, checking our shoes, the plate of cookies, my son, my dog, the works. You got the rules packet? She said, before we'd even said our names. No fences at the water, no blocking the view, no personal gates on common paths. I told her we read it, we wanted to be good neighbors, and she just stared through us like we were paperwork, not people. Good. Don't make me write you up. That's how she said hello. We tried to let it roll off. Laura said maybe she's just been burned before. Maybe that's why some people come at you with their armor on. So we kept smiling, kept knocking on doors, but it stuck with me. Couple weeks later, Sam nearly followed Rocky right into the lake after a duck. And I thought, I can't have my kid running loose like that. So I did what any responsible dad would do, called the city, called the county, hired a surveyor who marked the line with orange tape, gave us drawings, all official, all within our rights, you know? Picked out black aluminum, for feet high, nothing ugly, something that'd vanish into the trees, but still keep a kid or a dog from getting in trouble. Filled out the HOA form, attached the survey, wrote a nice note, safety for our child and dog. Within the line, permit attached, dropped it off with the clubhouse clerk, who smiled and said approvals take 2 weeks. 9 days later, before we'd even said a single post, we got a letter denied in bold, no explanation, just remove it or face fines. Couldn't even get a human on the phone, emails disappeared into the void. And then Friday, before the sun was even up, Karen's out there with a red violation tag like she's tagging endangered species. I tried to talk to her honest. I did. We're not trying to privatize the lake. We're just trying to keep our son safe. She just put her sunglasses on and said, you can appeal, but I already wrote the report. Like I said, rules were her religion. So I did what I had, toped up the fence, stayed inside the line, checked every measure twice, even posted pictures in the neighbor group, hoping for sanity, but all it did was start a wildfire. Some folks backed her, some backed us, some said kids come first, others said rules matter most when you think they don't. Felt like being on trial for something as innocent as wanting to keep my kid from drowning. Laura hung a bell on the gate, Sam clapped, Rocky wagged so hard he knocked over the hose. That's the moment it felt like home until the next HOA newsletter came out. A photo of our fence with a red X, unauthorized structure, owner refuses to comply, splashed across page 2 like we were criminals. Next thing I know, it's threats, notices, fines ramping up by the day, $100, $200, $500, and no one from the board answering calls. So I said enough's enough. I told Laura, kindness isn't weakness. And for 48 hours we waited while the neighborhood rumbled. That's when the police lights showed up, and Karen stood out front with her folder and her camera, her little fan club on the sidewalk, looking for a showdown. I handed the officers my permits, the survey, even the city approval, and they walked the line with me, flashlight shining on the orange tape, and for a second I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would see sense. But Karen, she wasn't letting go of her moment in the sun. She put her hand on the latch, opened the gate, and the officer told her, "Ma'am, this is his property. Please step back." But she just marched right in, bold as brass, and tried to play it off. "I'm acting for the association." Like that gave her the right to walk through our yard in front of my family and half the town. For a heartbeat, it got tense. Her heel slipped near the dock. She almost went down, grabbed the rail, bell ringing, face bright red, and I caught her before she fell, just being a human being, you know? But she spun it the other way, waving her red-marked wrist at the crowd. "He attacked me, he hurt me, you all saw it." And for a second, the mood shifted. I mean, people's truths start to twist when fear creeps in, right? But here's where it gets good. The cops, they saw the orange stake, saw where the line was, saw the survey, and after Karen pushed it too far, bolt cutters and all, they turned to her, not me, and said, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespass and disobeying a lawful order." You could feel the shock roll through the street. Her face went white as paper, but the handcuffs clicked, and for once, she wasn't the one writing up the violation. You think it ends there? Not even close. Next morning, a man in a suit pulls up, hands me an envelope, civil action from the HOA, signatures and everything, suing us for unauthorized structure and community stress. Laura's jaw drops. "She's not giving up," she says. "She's doubling down." And sure enough, the board meetings go nuclear. Half the neighbors call me selfish. The other half say if they punish us, they punish every parent who ever tried to keep their kid from drowning. Mr. Jenkins, bless his soul, stood up and said, "That fence is a promise, not a wall." But the fines kept stacking, and I told them, "We're not backing down. We'll see you in court if we have to." And that's when it really turned ugly. Late one night, headlights sweep the lawn. A brick lands by the fence wrapped in paper. Red marker screaming, "Take it down or else." The cops come, bag it, warn us, but then it happens again. Another note, more threats. Then two kids run at the fence with a crowbar. Bang it till it dents, then peel out before anyone can get a plate. The whole time, Laura's baking cookies for neighbors, fighting hate with kindness. But online, the war just gets hotter, dividing everyone. Folks picking sides, and our son asking if he's safe to play outside. I started sitting up all night, drinking cold coffee, dog at my feet, watching shadows, heart pounding at every sound, and I'll be honest, I was scared. Twist of fate, one night during a storm, I catch two figures out by the fence, one with a crowbar, one with a gas can, trying to set the thing on fire. The cops catch him, drag him out in the rain, and I recognize one Dylan, the board chair's son, the same kid who used to mow lawns for half the street. "Karen said you'd ruin everything. She said we had to stop you." That stung worse than the damage. Now it wasn't just her. It was the whole community she'd poisoned against us. That was the last straw. Our lawyer filed suit, harassment, trespass, incitement. The evidence was overwhelming: surveys, permits, police reports, confessions. The courtroom was packed. Karen on one side, us on the other, reporters in the hall, everybody whispering. Officer Martinez got up on the stand and told the truth. This family followed the law. Karen chose to break it. The judge slammed the gavel. Case dismissed. Fines gone. Karen liable for trespass and harassment. Restitution for the fence, legal fees, all of it. You'd think the end would be sweet, but I gotta tell you, when the news went out, Karen off the board. Some say she moved away. Others say she just hides inside. You could still feel the scars in the neighborhood. We got a letter, and signed, "You may have won, but you lost this community. Sell and leave before it gets worse." Laura tore it up. "We're not running," she said. "Not now, not ever." Slowly, some neighbors started dropping by casseroles, apologies, even Jenkins mowing the grass by the fence. Even a couple who'd sided with Karen came by with fishing poles for Sam, saying, "You did right. Now, every time the wind rattles the bell on that gate, I remember the cost. Not just the money or the sleep lost or the bent rails, but what we had to learn, that kindness isn't weakness, that rules without heart are just cages, and that sometimes you gotta fight, not because you want to win, but because you can't let cruelty be the last word." That fence stands taller now, reinforced, bell ringing in the breeze, Sam's crooked sign swaying with stubborn pride, and me. I finally get to sit with Laura on the porch, looking out at the lake, feeling a kind of peace that only comes after you've stood your ground and weathered the storm. But I'll be honest, some nights when I hear tires slow in front of the house or spot headlights flicker across the water, I still wonder, did we really win? Or did we just survive? I want to believe kindness is stronger than fear, that neighbors can forgive, that communities can heal. But there's always another storm on the horizon, another Karen somewhere, another line in the dirt. So let me ask you, was I right to fight? Would you have stood your ground? Or would you have just ripped the fence out and kept the peace? What's more important, rules or people? Justice or just getting by? Drop your thoughts in the comments, tell me where you're watching from and what you do, because, trust me, in the real world, sometimes the hardest line to hold is the one you draw to keep your family safe.